doesn't matter because we're so angry about it.
It's okay. We have a special guest that's gonna come by at 10 o'clock in about a half hour. So we gotta get the funny stuff out of the way. And then when the special guest comes on, I promise you, we're all gonna be arguing different things. So it's actually gonna be kind of exciting. Should we spoil what not the special guest, but what the topic is for the special guest?
I mean, we could say both, to be honest. Keep these heathens in check.
All right.
Don't go anywhere.
You can tell them.
All right, so why did your emotes come out like that, Ryan? Sorry, ADD. So later tonight, we are going to have a special guest, a good friend, one Brawlic Juan will be coming in, and we are going to be discussing what is the best gen in Pokemon.
Yes, and I can already tell I'm gonna disagree with both of you. So.
Oh yeah, I know which one you're going, and it's just objectively wrong.
Okay, I might. I don't know. It depends on the day with me. I'm not gonna be honest. It depends on the day. I'm really bad. But you know what? It just goes to show how good both gens are. That I would like fight over it. You know, and I can't choose one.
Yeah, I mean, there's only one actual correct answer, and it's mine.
Exactly.
The best Pokemon gen is Showdown. Duh.
I don't need to do this live on stream, he says. My argument is going to be laser accurate. Well, guess what also is laser accurate? Switch to pricing.
Ah!
Wait, okay, listen. I got to be honest with you guys. Get Blue Shell, which is my other podcast every other Thursday that rotates with PokeYap. I called about 90% of the Pokemon Switch 2 Direct, okay? I have to humble brag here. I called like at least half of the things, and I said it's going to be $450, and it was. So somebody give me clap emotes or something in the chat, because I swear to God, I should have bought a lotto ticket.
I mean, I don't know why you didn't.
I really should have. But let's dive into it now, because we have a half hour to kill until our special guest shows up.
Facts. Okay, so I think the easiest thing to start off is the Switch 2 is retailing at, correct me if I'm wrong, Dial, because I've already forgotten, because your boy's UK pre-order still hasn't canceled.
I'm pissed.
Fuck the tariffs. Your boy's still in there currently.
Dozo. Dozo's killing me. No, okay.
Dozo, I can't wait. My argument's literally just gonna be fucking yelling at you, and it's no different from my normal streams. I'm so excited. That's
so funny. Okay, so the regular price is $450 and then the bundle is $500 with Mario Kart World, which is a digital download. It's not the physical copy.
Yes. So there's essentially what I would love to point out is the discourse that has been going around about the Switch 2 pricing is, the Switch 2 pricing is just too high, right? Everyone's saying, oh my God, this thing is so expensive. I don't understand why Nintendo has raised the price on their system. Blah, 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 motherfucking blah. Oh my God. Oh my God, people. I am so sick of this. Holy. I cannot stress enough. They said, guys, we have bundled in something that is somewhere between the current gen consoles tech specs into a handheld that you can take off and plug in seamlessly, and it's gonna work no matter what you're doing. It is still the damn Switch 2, right? Mm-hmm. The thing that blows my mind is they came out and they said, guys, when you have this thing docked, this is a console that is going to put out 4K 60 frames per second in a handheld. I don't know if you guys understand what that processing power looks like. That's crazy. That's genuinely crazy. 4K 60 is still something that if you were going to sit there and have like a PC, right? Listen, I got Brew, don't worry. I'm going to join on you in a second. This is probably going to be the most political I've ever been on my channel. Oh my God.
I'm dead.
Yeah, so does the PS5 even do that? Well, Ryan, only on specific games. Only on specific games does the PS5 even do that. My rig, right? I have a $2,000 gaming PC that I built up to make sure that I could play games as the highest fidelity that I want to, right? My rig is currently playing Monster Hunter, the newest Monster Hunter, at 2K 120. Could I potentially push this thing to 4K 60? Yeah. This is a $2,000 fucking PC. I'm getting that performance in a handheld that at any point I could pick up my game and go, I need to poop and not stop.
Yeah.
Like, what's crazy, right, is think of technology as a whole, guys. You're getting something that is more powerful than like what your cell phone can do. This is $1,000. This is $1,000. My Switch 2 is less than half of that. It is going to be less than half of that. I can completely understand being like, man, I wish the games were cheaper. I totally get it.
Don't get ahead of yourself. We're talking about the system first.
Correct.
System first.
I
gotta say some stuff about the system, and then we'll get on to that. Because I do actually think there's separate arguments.
Yes. My thing is when I'm looking at the price point of this system for what it is putting out, it is exactly priced at where it should be.
Yeah.
For reference, the Steam Deck, which is markedly now, which we've confirmed, is less powerful than the Switch 2, is the same price. It is the same price for a Steam Deck, and it does less. I understand we could be mad that something is more expensive. I get it. It is priced fairly for what is inside of this damn package.
Yeah. Well, and here's the other thing too that I would just want to point out is I'm pretty sure the PS4 was priced at $400. I don't know what the PS4 Pro, if there was a PS4 Pro, correct?
PS4 Pro, yes. I don't remember when it launched at.
And I don't remember, and I believe the PS5 launched at $500 and the PS5 Pro was $700. Or somebody can correct me if I'm wrong.
I think it is $700. I believe it's $700 for the PS5 Pro.
Okay. So the way I look at it is this: PS4 is old news, right? PS4, like that's an older console. It launched at $400. PS5 is the most recent console, but the PS5 is more powerful than the Switch 2 is going to be. I don't think anybody's sitting here saying that this is as powerful as a PS5. It's around the PS4 Pro thing. The PS4 launched for $400 years ago, but I feel like you're in the middle of these two consoles. You also have the Steam Deck that's like a direct comparison. Even though I feel like I don't know, like I don't. My brain's like thinking way faster than my mouth is right now. I'm sorry, my brain is.
You're fine.
I'm not used to seeing and it's the chat that's like going crazy. Maybe I need to move the chat to a different screen for a second. But yeah, no, I feel like it's reasonably priced, and we also have to remember this too. You know, people are like, oh, well, the PS4 launched for $400 years ago, and I get that, but keep in mind this is portable, so I don't want to say you're getting two consoles in one because you're not, but you have to pay the portability tax. First of all, components are way more expensive when you need to make them smaller, and you know, there's a premium for that. I read a report today that allegedly, again, this is not confirmed, but I read a report that the Nintendo Switch cost Nintendo $400 to make. So if they're selling it at $450, I mean, they're a business, right? Like, I know Sony and Microsoft sell at losses, but they have a different business model than Nintendo does. I mean, I don't think it's criminal of them to ask for another $50 on top of that to recoup costs. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like the 450 is very reasonable. Like I said, the games thing is a separate conversation, but for the console itself, I not only think it's reasonably priced, I personally would pay up to $600 for it. Maybe that's just me coming from a point of privilege because I have $600 to burn. Not that I want to spend, like, I'd rather buy a $450 console and get a couple games with it, right? But like, I feel like paying up to $600 could be reasonable. Would I be happy about it? No, but that's why I just think the $450 is like $100 is like perfect. I know the $600 is a little bit like on the more expensive end, but like, honestly, I wouldn't have said no to that. Anything more than that, I probably would have started questioning.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. To address something I see popped into the chat, I see Bear said, I think the big issue is that Nintendo has always been the cheaper of the gaming side compared to Xbox and PlayStation. Now they caught up in price with specs, and people don't like that. And I think that is definitely a great point to point out, Bear. I think the fact that it is now a little bit more expensive, people are just kind of like, hey, wait a second, this is my fun get into games console. And while I do understand that, I would also like to argue again, I'm pretty sure the other two are $500. Yeah. So it is still like, it's still $50. It is still cheaper. Hold on, Dozo's put a novel.
No Dozo.
My thing is I get the power, I get what's pushing, but the quality might not be there. You can't make that argument. Also the console itself, but just around the console, not the games, but you have to pay for the voice chat stuff or Switch Online. Okay, so the problem that I have with your argument, Dozo, just to kind of break it down into sections, right? Saying the quality might not be there, I can't get behind a hypothetical like that, right? Because you could say anything is going to fail or anything is not going to have its quality with it. It's not there, right? So we can't really dive into this argument. If we're going with the track record of Nintendo, I would say you're wrong. They generally don't put out too much like not quality. If you want to say the Wii U, I'd give you that, but that's probably it. The voice chat stuff is included with your Switch Online,
and every other service charges for that too. Just
exactly. There is no way of getting free online anymore unless you're playing on your PC. So like there's sort of no getting around that. The tech demo, I'm 100% with you. I don't think that tech demo tech demo should be free. It should be. It's Wii Sports.
Did you see that our man Reggie from Brentwood had to fight to get Wii Sports to be included with the package? Like they were going to charge us for Wii Sports, and that game would not have taken off.
No, I wouldn't have. For that. Wii Sports was great. I wouldn't have paid for it.
100%. But when you think Wii, it's synonymous with Wii Sports. Yes. Like that was the game that everybody had. Like that's crazy to me. The tariffs have hit the tech demo.
The tariffs have hit the tech demo launch. Oh no!
Oh my god, Lunch Tree is amazing. And I just want to say one more thing too. Just in the effort to clear the misinformation, we do not know what the new price of the Switch is going to be. However, because the tariffs have been paused for 90 days, it looks like, paused for Japan, I should say, and Vietnam. It looks like it's going to probably launch at the $450 price model. Or if it goes up a little bit because of the 10% buff, they may sell it at a loss. But I just want to be clear that we don't know what the new pricing is going to be.
Yes. I would also essentially say, right, like there's always the chance they just ship all of them in on a plane like they just did just did with iPhones.
Oops, how did this plane get here?
Oh no, a plane with a bunch of 3 planes filled with iPhones. Who would have thought?
Totally normal.
Yeah, totally normal. To me, it's definitely one of these things where I think we're living in sort of a crazy, unprecedented time, right? This console just got delayed indefinitely into China, and I don't understand entirely why. There's definitely going to be something that we for the third iPhone plane isn't.
I shouldn't laugh at that, but that is hilarious.
We shouldn't be laughing at that. We're New Yorkers.
I know. Wait, so does that give us the right to laugh then?
Yes, 100%.
Okay,
Lord Steve, you're out of line for making that joke, but you also get a pass.
Okay, good. Cheap viewers. No, I
ban your cheap viewers.
I ban my cheap viewers. You're all cheap viewers, okay?
Oh my god,
I love you all. If you're a Meganium hater, you're a cheap viewer.
What the fuck?
Just leave.
Bye.
Guys, you don't understand. This draft league is gonna go so hard when I get Meganium on my team. Like I don't think you guys understand.
God, we have done 2 podcasts and I've already walked off a set twice.
Oh my god, we got the chair. That's so funny.
And chair's gone, boys.
That's so funny. What was I gonna say? I also do think the $500 bundle for the Mario Kart World is fine because
I'm with you.
Listen. I guess we'll start talking about the pricing of the games, right? $80 for a game is a lot of money. The way I see it is this: how many years have we gone through where games have stayed the exact same price, or maybe gone up like from 50 to 60? Okay. My thing is this: the games industry has been saying for a long time, studios are closing, devs are getting mass layoffs before Christmas. They're like, people from the industry are begging for help, saying that it's not stable. Like it's a really bad industry to be in. And so, you see all these people rise up on Twitter and on Reddit being like, you need to pay more. They can't, because the model for $60 just isn't working anymore. Which is why you see microtransactions, DLCs, pay for early access, and battle passes and shit like that. So in a way, it's like I don't want to say you're paying that anyway because not everybody buys all those extra things. But it's either you pay a shorter price up front and then you have a back end of other things that people like the whales can buy, or everybody just pays more, but maybe you get access to everything. Like I think that's been the problem is people don't want to pay $70, $80 for a game. So the industry has morphed into, all right, if people aren't going to buy $80 games, then we'll do more of these microtransactions. Now, if you're selling an $80 game and then have a bunch of microtransactions and shit on top of that, I think that's a whole separate issue. But Nintendo has not done that. Like historically, Nintendo has given you very, very good DLCs. You know, you could argue that the Sword and Shield DLC was crap, but I think it was $30 or $20 worth of content. It just wasn't great. But like I feel like I got 10 hours of gameplay out of that. I got some cool new Pokemon. Like, you know, I didn't feel like I got like screwed over, I guess. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, no, so I think what it comes down to is it's gonna be, I can't argue that this is not gonna be a hit for games as a whole, right? We do live in a time where if we're gonna, you know, pull the mask off, most people our age are living paycheck to paycheck. Cost of living has gone high. Cost of our wages we're getting back has been stagnant for years, right? And it does come down to we're at sort of a push comes to shove. Like gaming is not an inexpensive hobby. It never has been. One of the things that I kind of gone back to when I've been talking about this with a few of my friends offline has been, hey, you know, like there's been flyers circulating from like the prices of N64 games and Star Wars Shadows of the Empire, which is a phenomenal game if you've never played that game, was $73 back in the day, right?
That's
so
crazy.
essentially, which is nuts. And essentially, everyone here, with the exception of Bryu, would have had their parents front that bill. I just called out the old man in chat, Bryu.
Oh no, Bryu! I love you, Bryu.
I love you so much, Bryu. But that was a $72 game when it launched in 1996, I believe. If you count for inflation on that, the buying power of 1966 to today for $72 would make that the equivalent of an $140 game.
Yeah, so, imagine selling a game today. GTA 6 can't even sell for $140 today.
Yes. And like, mind you, I think GTA 6 is going to try and be a $100 game.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
But I think we need to kind of look at this and be like, look, yes, games have been expensive. Games are essentially, like I said, it's not a cheap hobby. And I think this is going to have a negative impact as a whole on who buys games, right? I saw a YouTube short where someone essentially pointed out that like, look, this has already hit Australia, where the Australian dollar is not the same value as the US dollars, but things are being priced at the equivalent of 60 US dollars, plus just Australia's taxes. And like games are, you know, hitting like 100 AUD down there. And people can't afford it. And like the games industry is suffering. Like there's not as many people buying games. What I would say, right, is sort of the counter argument that I saw Brawlic John kind of put in the chat is, hey, if you're going out to Applebee's these days, right, you're putting close to $80 on dinner.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's insane. Like what is essentially the problem, and it's in society, it's not just necessarily gaming, is everything is really expensive. Everything's very expensive.
Dude, Starbucks, if you want to get a grande, okay, don't ask me how I know this, but
I do. Before
COVID, it was $4.75 for a grande white chocolate mocha, okay? After COVID, it's like $6.75. And I know $2, like, oh, is that big of a deal? Well, I used to go to Starbucks every day, and that adds up. And I realized that was an addiction, and I stopped, and I also gained a lot of weight from it. But point, though, is that, like, everything has gone up, and it's stayed up, right? So it's like, everything's gotten more expensive. But the thing is, people are willing to pay those prices, and that's a whole separate thing. That's why it stayed as expensive as it stayed. But
like a thing, and I think COVID is sort of the big elephant in the room to bring up, right? Is like prices went up during COVID because it was harder to get goods, and that made total sense at the time. And then prices just never came down when it was easier to get goods, and companies were just like, hey, we're gonna keep charging money. We're just gonna keep charging more money because you gotta do it anyway. And it's, you know, the moral of the story is essentially, guys, fuck capitalism.
Yeah. Well, it's
But
more like late stage capitalism is really the problem because we're at the point of no return right now. Like in theory, capitalism's cool, and then once you get to the late stage where like all the money's in like the top 0.5%, it's like, ooh.
yeah, unregulated capitalism drains
Yeah.
the money out of the middle class, and here we are, the middle class.
Here we
Hello,
are.
they're taking my money. But yeah, it really comes down to like I totally understand sort of the oh no, supply went up, but the prices didn't go down. It's like
I
they're
went
supposed
somewhere.
to crazy.
I went somewhere the other day. I wish I could remember where it was, and I remember asking for something, and they didn't have it. I think I must have been like eating somewhere. I don't remember what it was, and they said, "Sorry, due to the supply chain issues, we don't have any." And I said, "What?"
Probably eggs.
No, it wasn't eggs. I don't remember what it was. It was like, I think I was at a coffee shop, and the flavor of whatever it was, like the syrup, they just didn't have, and they blamed it on supply issues. And I'm just like, you can't keep blaming the supply chain. It's 2025.
There's a certain point, like, but what's crazy is like that's a real thing. Like they're still not fully unbroken for certain things. Like I work in the automotive industry. For those of you who don't know, getting car parts still sometimes is just fucking stupid. I just had a customer who needed a muffler, and you can't drive a car without a muffler, and I had to hold their car for 3 weeks because I couldn't get a muffler. Oh, some people do.
Oh my god, on Long Island, don't get me started. Oh my god,
it's always a Honda Civic. It's always a goddamn Honda Civic.
No, over here, oh my god, no, it's never a Honda Civic over here. It's always a BMW, or it's one of those Subaru RX-9, whatever that one is, the sporty one.
WRX?
Yeah, WRX. It's always that, a BMW or a Ram.
Yeah. Out here, it's somebody with their little souped up Honda Civic, and you're saying, and I'm like, please, your car's worth $10,000.
Why was that so accurate?
But Brie, I think what's actually the perfect encapsulation of this, aside from my Honda Civic impression, is Brie, I don't drink, smoke, coffee, or game anymore. I make six figures, and I'm still broke. And brother, do I understand that?
Yeah.
Civic, that's wild.
Dude, like, and then especially with the housing financial crisis too, it's like my boyfriend and I, like, he's a teacher, like I have a degree from college too, like I work full-time, he works full-time, and we're sitting here like, how are we gonna afford a damn house?
Yeah, well,
like, I don't understand.
Yeah, secret words. You can't.
We bought this condo in the dip of COVID, otherwise we'd be screwed.
Yes, I legitimately, so my apartment, right, is considered a steal by these standards. My 1-bedroom apartment, you guys could learn. I pay $1,500 a month in rent.
Ooh,
which
that's actually a good price for New York City.
It's a great price for New York City.
Yeah,
but it's one of these things where I think is also just absolutely insane to think about it. Because when I first moved out of my parents' house, which was only 7 years ago, for a 2-bedroom, it was $1,600.
Yeah, that's crazy.
More than your mortgage. Oh, Brie, that hurts.
That's how you know Brie's not in New York.
Yeah, Brie's out there in one of them states that got the land.
They're states that got their taxes under control.
Yeah, Texas.
See? No, but it is really frustrating. So it's like, so to bring this back to the Switch thing, it's like, I get it. If $80 is a lot for you for games, I get it. If the Switch 2 is a lot for you, I get it. I'm not going to go out and tell you to go buy Switch 1. But the thing is like, I don't think the anger should be directed at Nintendo, because I actually think they're still being very reasonable. And I think you're going to be very shocked when you see that PlayStation and Xbox's new things are going to be just as expensive or more.
Yeah, I think what we're going to see the industry shift towards is, I think it's all shifting towards getting some kind of a streaming service going, right? Some kind of an Xbox Game Pass or PlayStation Plus Pro, where it's it's like, oh yeah, you could download from this library of games for $15 a month. And like, don't get me wrong, if it stays at that price point, for some people that's not the worst, because that's the equivalent. Like, Game Pass, I believe, is the equivalent of buying like a game and a half per year, right?
Wait, hold on. So Game Pass is $15 a month.
Yeah.
And then you also have to buy Xbox Live if you want to play online.
Yes.
So how much is Xbox Live?
I believe they have a thing for like, I think it's like $20 or $25 that you get them both.
Okay, per month?
Yeah.
So I just want to do some quick maths right here. So that's 25 times 12 is $300 a year to be able to get what Nintendo offers you for less than 50.
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make
You
that
said
clear.
New York, right? Do you ever have to deal with pickup trucks that have these giant oversized tires that are so
Yes.
constantly?
Yes, with the mirrors that are all the way out here.
Yeah, and they usually have spikes in the wheels too.
Yeah.
Just in case you want to get close.
No, Nintendo did tell people to go buy a Switch 1. That was kind of bad. But let's just go. Hold on. I want to just make this clear. So people were complaining about NSO for $50 a year, which also, by the way, included the Mario Kart DLC. But people are willing to pay $25 a month to get the same thing, but that doesn't include DLCs.
Yes, I think the difference is when you spend $25, you get the games from Game Pass, so you do have a huge library that you get to just sort of pick from, and a lot of them are AAA titles. What I will say, right, is to sort of what Dozo touched on, that I don't like is like, oh, if you can't afford a Switch 1, go buy Switch 2, go buy a Switch 1. I genuinely hate the arguments companies make from that, right? And it's not I'd love to say it's exclusively a problem with Nintendo. However, it's just not, right? Like every company is just sort of like that, where they're like, oh, don't worry, if you can't afford or you can't find the PS5, we're going to release this on the PS4. So you could buy a PS4 because you could still find those. And like, that's just how they go.
Yeah. Well, and it's just like, it's nice when, an upgraded like this comes out, right? Let's just say you can't afford the Switch 2 and they release, let's use a better example, GameCube to Wii, right? Twilight Princess came out on both of them. So if you couldn't get your hands on a Wii or you couldn't afford to get a Wii, you at least could play it on your GameCube, right? Like, and then eventually it kind of gets to the point where they're like not going to support GameCube anymore, and then you're going to have to move up. But at the same time, it's also just kind of like, or at least where I side with the consumer on this is the problem is Nintendo never brings down the prices on their old consoles.
Yes.
So I would be more fine with this argument if they said, hey, you want the Switch 1? You know what? We're going to knock it down to like $150. And that way, if you can't afford a Switch 2, at least you can buy into our ecosystem, and then eventually you'll want to buy a Switch 2. So that's where I get frustrated with Nintendo, because their AAA titles rarely go on sale, and then they just never put their consoles on sale.
Yeah, never. It's sort of, it is frustrating, right? Is like genuinely what I will always kind of say is if we're looking for if we're looking for these companies to be wholly for consumer, we're going to be let down every time.
Yeah.
Right. At the end of the day, we don't matter. Their bottom lines matter. Their investors matter. Our money matters. Right. And while I think I'm with you guys, right, that the best thing to be would be like, hey, slash the price of the Switch 1. They want you to buy a Switch 2. So like what Brew's saying is he's got a $375 OLED Switch 1 for another, $75. Buy the Switch 2 instead, because the Switch 1's eventually going to go away. And that's sort of what they're,
the Switch 2. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where it is. And that's honestly, personally, if I'm speaking as a former employee of GameStop, I think it's one of the reasons they're trying to bully like GameStop to not exist anymore. Yeah. Right. It's like, because at any point you could go to GameStop, and if someone goes, damn, I can't afford this, you can go, hey, you could buy the used one, and it's really a lot cheaper.
No, and that's fair.
Like, then it's gone, right? But we essentially, like I said, we essentially don't matter. We don't matter is a wild take in a sense, because the customer doesn't buy the product. Yeah, but the thing is, Bear, like, we could be as mad as we want, and unless it's gotten to the point that no one's buying the product, then that's it, right? At the end of the day, something we also have to remember is the internet is a very loud, vocal minority compared to what it is, right? Because there's going to be, like, for example, I don't necessarily really love that the Switch is $450. My daughter's of the age where I can get her first console. I'm not buying her the Switch 1 because the things that she's going to want are only going to come out on the Switch 2.
Yeah.
And like, that's kind of where we sit, is like, if you want the thing to continue and you want to make sure you go, here it comes. Yeah. Except when I bought my OLED, there was zero national response. I definitely feel you, Brew. The other, if I was going to argue against you, I would say you bought it sort of 8 years into the life cycle of the Switch. It was eventually going to have to change, and consoles, generally speaking, are about a 10-year life cycle, right?
Yeah, and the other problem too is Nintendo,
at the same time, they should have said something.
Well, and here's the thing too: is Nintendo they had a hit machine with the Switch 1. The
Yeah.
Switch 1 was a hot commodity. I mean, it's in contention to be the best-selling console of all time, right? To surpass PlayStation.
Yeah, Sony had to re-amend how many PlayStation
They had to
2s they
find
sold.
some PlayStations and adopt.
Oh,
But no,
we sold this many.
but the thing is like, especially when a company like that, like, not like, they get a little greedy. They're like, we want to hold the record for the most, best sold console. Like, they're not going to want to come out and say, hey guys, by the way, in the year we're releasing a Switch 2. That's going to immediately stop people from buying the Switch, which fucks with the records, which isn't their number one priority, but I do think it's in the back of their minds. The Switch sold well. It's not like it's the Wii U where they have to save face and be like, guys, we know we screwed up. By the way, we're coming out with this new thing in a year. Like, let's tease you for 9 months. Like, what are they saving? Like, the Switch 1 was a huge success. It turned around the entire company. The Wii U was a huge fucking failure. The 3DS was a pretty big failure. So the fact that that sold so well, that's why they didn't announce it. And that's why they, like, I'm actually surprised it even leaked as much as it did. I just think it's because they took so long to say anything. Eventually the leaks
That's
were going to
exactly
come
what
out.
it is. Because you were having the problem was third-party sellers were kind of like, hey, look, we got this thing. And everyone's like,
for what?
What is that for? That's roughly the shape of a Nintendo Switch Pro controller, but it doesn't look the same.
Can I just say something really quick on
Yes.
Ryan's point? Ryan says, with 3DS failure at first, 3DS was a GOAT console overall. I actually loved my 3DS, and I barely used the 3D function. I just thought that the DS felt amazing to hold. It had some good games on it. It was super portable, and I thought it was a really good version of the DS. I loved it. And for the record, the Wii U I actually thought was fine. I just think that was a PR nightmare, and they took forever to come out with a game on it. So I just didn't buy it until a game came out that I wanted.
Yeah, I think that the biggest thing with the Wii U is like it was a fun concept. It was a fun concept. It was not marketed well, right? Like, it felt like it was just going to be an add-on for the Wii, and like,
that's what I thought. And I'm not, okay, listen, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, okay? But I'm a gamer. I'm a lifelong gamer. I'm a Nintendo product owner. I was confused by that.
Yeah, there were so many people who were. And like, the gamepad was like a Switch prototype,
100%.
100%. And
that was the wild area to my Scarlet and Violet. Is that how that works?
Maybe.
But wait, Scarlet and Violet also sucked though. Performance wise.
Okay, I was gonna say, hold on.
I love I actually Scarlet and Violet's kind of climbing up to some of my favorite games. But
yeah. Briefly before John gets here and we start talking about it, you want to talk about the stuff they at least said Pokemon wise for the Nintendo Switch 2?
Yes. Okay, hold up. Did anybody else scream when they saw XD in Coliseum? Like, yes. in the GameCube thing? I screamed. I was like, I honest to God thought that it was never going to come because of some like licensing issue with that. Of what company developed it?
I don't fucking remember.
I remember the logo. But I legitimately thought that was just never going to happen. But then I put it on the bingo board. That was another thing I predicted on the Get Blue Shell podcast. I was like, oh, cool. Like, maybe we all know GameCube's coming. Maybe they'll bring Pokemon to it. And then when they did, I squealed. And the Legend Z8 trailer also looked amazing too.
I know. So I loved when I saw Coliseum and XD. I haven't played Coliseum in years. I loved Coliseum. I thought Coliseum was so fun. I never played XD. So I think this is going to be the first sort of like
Oh, I'm the opposite. I loved XD. I never played Coliseum.
Oh, kind of twinsies?
Yo!
Yin and yang. Let's go.
Are you streaming it? You're going to stream it, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. Okay. I'm going to yell at chat the whole time. I can't wait for them to go get the Shadow Meganium. Go get the Shadow Meganium, please.
Does Shadow Meganium exist? And can somebody please confirm?
Yeah, no, it does.
That's amazing. I love that.
Yeah. Shadow Lugia is getting step off. I'll imagine.
Oh my God.
I genuinely, you know me damn well, 100%. You're all going to do that. I know how you are. I've been doing this with you guys for almost 2 years now. I know what you guys do.
Okay. Legend ZA though. Let's hold on. Legend ZA, because I don't want to get off topic. I threw you a curveball by going after the GameCube first. But the ZA trailer, first off, y'all better put money on it. I am buying the ZA Enhanced Edition. I don't give a fuck if it's $80 or $100. I'm one of those people. I'm buying it. I'm sorry. That ran so well.
So hear me out. I'm waiting for them to say the enhanced version, right, is if you bought the Switch one and it's like, hey, $20 to get it on the Switch 2. I'm hoping that I could just buy the Switch 2 version and then I just have the enhanced version.
True. Oh, sorry, that's what I meant. The Switch
That's what I'm
2
thinking
version.
is gonna happen. That's what I'm assuming.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
God, I'm not. Have you seen the difference? It made
Dude.
the Switch version look like dirt. Oh my God, peasants, keep your shovelware away from me. That's gross. I instead would love my beautiful, shining, wonderful game running in 60 frames.
Dude, the last time we had a game that ran in 60 frames was Emerald.
Yes.
And that's crazy to me. Like, I think it's so crazy. Dude, it ran so smooth. The mega animation. Dude, did anybody else get like intense nostalgia? Because I was like, the last time we saw that mega animation was in 3D on a fucking 3DS. Sorry, I keep cursing today. But on the 3DS.
Like, I give a shit.
Like, and it's like, I remember seeing it at like 10 FPS and being like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. Now, at like 120 or 60 FPS, whatever it was, so crazy.
It's genuinely, it looked so nice. Everything ran so smooth. I think the particle effects were great. To me, what it shows is I'm like, okay, this is really cool. This is really nice. I can't wait to see what you do when you abandon the Switch 1 and I can maybe have like a real textured building in the background too.
No,
like,
that might be asking too much. Hold on.
Mega Ampharos and that flowing hair. Oh my Lord. And like on top of that, like I know they just sort of briefly mentioned it, but Scarlet and Violet's getting an upgrade too. If they came out in a direct and they showed me that fucking Dondozo Lake running with a consistent frame rate
with the rain,
I will find and kiss Doug Bowser's bald head.
Oh my God, you're so bad. Dude, somebody clip that.
Like,
so
guys,
bad.
I don't think you I swear to God, I will find Bowser. I will kiss it. Walk right out, just give him a little.
Oh my God.
And then that's just it, dude. Because I need to play this. Okay, chat. I think you guys know. I have sort of been one of Scarlet and Violet's ardent defenders. Where like, if we're talking about Pokemon games, it is the best Pokemon game we've ever got. It is not a good game performance-wise.
Fair.
It is not a good game, but it is the best Pokemon game. They all run like dog shit.
Yeah.
Right? It's just kind of how it is. So, if we're talking it in a vacuum, it's the best Pokemon game. And I have said, Nintendo Ninjas, please listen away. If you go watch people playing Scarlet and Violet on a PC emulator, you can then see that you are actually able to like function this game with no lag, and it looks so nice and it's so good. And if you just finally slap that on a console, oh my God, please.
Dude, okay, so I don't know if you've ever noticed this.
Red and Blue are the buggiest games of all time, Brew.
No, thank you, Dondozo. I appreciate you for supporting me. No, okay, so I don't know if you've noticed this, Moxie, but with Scarlet and Violet, if let's just say like your game was completely closed out and you load up the game for the first time, and then you load into the world, there's about a 5-second window where the FPS is actually good. And then it dips down, and then the rest of your gameplay, it's trash. And it's like for those 5 seconds, every time I boot up Scarlet and Violet, I go, if only. If only this game just had like 10 more FPS.
Just like, oh, we were so close. We were so close to greatness.
And I got a glimpse of that. Yo, it's John!
Oh, it's a surprise. You got to send me the link. Chat, we got to do some live editing.
Oh, wait, shoot. I put, hold on.
Oh, no, panic.
PokeYap.
Panic in the PokeYap. Panic.
I sent it to you in the PokeYap chat.
PokeYap panic.
Uh-oh. We have our special guest with us today.
That's never gonna, bro, that's never ending. You know me.
Oh, hold on. His mic's a little messed up, though. Hold up.
Yeah, you sound a little robotic, my dude.
No, is that the mic you always use? Panic at the PokeYap stream. It just, does it sound robotic for you too? Chat, do you guys hear it? Oh wait, it's because you don't hear him at all. Hold on.
Yeah, you guys don't know what John sounds like at all yet. Hold on, chat. I'm working on it.
Okay, you should be able to hear him now.
Chat, please ignore the live editing, please.
Okay, how about now?
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
Chad, he's about to be so flippin' large, I think.
Yo, I have him in the middle of the chat. All right, cool. Welcome, John.
You guys can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yeah, if I may, if you guys would be so kind. Can I get a mic check, chat? Just a quick little mic that music. Michael.
Why will my thing not let me get to be able to mute your source, dude?
Oh my god.
They're only hearing you in double. Have as much fun as you need with this right now, John.
If you go to the source and double click it, like where you put the URL in, click control audio via OBS, make sure that's checked, and then you can mute him in OBS.
Oh, that's why I forgot. Hold on.
Yeah.
Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Oh my god, chat, panic at the PokeYap. Okay,
wait, I'm panicking. What happened to Briu's message? Oh no, why is everything getting, oh no. Nightbot is being so bad right now, like my cat. Dude, my cat's been so bad lately. I might just take him to the vet. Although my boyfriend yelled at me and told me not to take him because I'm just panicking over nothing.
I mean, I personally
he's just sleeping all day.
Bastards. All cats are bastards. That's my rule.
Not my cat. Not my cat. My cat is a pure angel.
Oh, they were destroying you on your stream, not mine. Okay, cool. Guys, I love you here. Yo, why?
Oh my god.
Dozo's testing something.
Yo,
there's no way.
Dozo is straight up trolling me right now.
Am I good?
Yeah, I hear you.
Mike?
Yeah.
How about to stream?
Stream, do you guys hear him?
Mikey, Mike,
Where is
chicken
Mike?
nuggets.
Where is Mike?
Probably.
Yo, thank you, Ryan.
Playing a video game.
Michael. Okay,
every time you say Mike, it's just weird. That is Falenza, goddammit.
No, that is Mike. Yeah. He's my co-worker. First, he's my friend.
Falenza.
We have both lived with him, and he didn't hear his first name for 4 years.
That's actually really funny. Oh yeah,
I actually thought he was Falenza.
Oh my god.
All right, so no echo.
No echo.
Nah, all they're gonna hear from me is like you got a slight like. We could hear like your room noise. Oh no! Like you can't hear it with any of us.
Nah, it's
right.
fine. It's all good.
Good chat.
It's been a long time. All right, we are here today to argue something very important. Okay, we all have cases to present. Which generation of Pokemon is the best? So there's multiple things to take into account. We have to take the whole package. Okay, we have to take in the new Pokemon, the music, the region,
the
story. So there's a lot going into it. So something like for me, I love all Pokemon games. Some games are better here, some games are better here.
So, well, I don't know if you guys want me to start or if you want to save me for last, but
I mean, you could start if you want. We know where you're going, and you're just wrong.
I mean, that's why I want you guys to go because like
go lead it off.
Start. It's gonna be so much more extensive.
Oh, it's gonna be so much more. Okay, so you know what? You know what, chat? Let's let Dot. Yeah, because if anybody here is a longtime viewer of Brawler Quan or Mr. Moxie Mans, you know where me and him stand.
All right.
Tile, you are the wild card.
All right, so listen up, chat. I have been the longest stand of Gen 4 for the longest time. And I love Gen 4. Like the Pokemon, the region. I think it completely innovated the series like no other game ever has. With the GTS bringing Pokemon online, I think it really took that next step to make Pokemon just feel a little bit better. But in recent times, I have come to I guess realization. I have really taken a thought about it and been like, you know what? Is Gen 4 actually the best game? And I've come to the conclusion that it's actually Gen 5. Gen 5 is the best Pokemon
Gen
game.
5.
Gen 5.
Gen 5.
Yeah, because overall, the average music, goated. The story, actually pretty good. The animations, like I think Gen 5 is legitimately peak Pokemon. Like what Pokemon should have been from that point onwards and never gone to 3D. It perfected everything. Also, it's in New York, so extra points.
That's why we got Pidove, the worst
And
fucking
Garbodor.
racial bird. Garbodor.
You never forget.
Super accurate for the region.
I will say this though. I will say this. I don't think Gen 5 has the best new generation of Pokemon though. Like I wouldn't. I think other things carry Gen 5. I don't think it's that. Like I think that's probably one of the weaker parts of Gen 5 actually is like the new
Yeah.
Pokemon roster.
So to chime in a little bit on some of the commentary, I actually have Gen 4 really high up on my list. It's not my number one. It's not what I'll be arguing, but it's very acceptable. I thought Gen 4 was pretty amazing. I mean, it's specifically platinum. If we're gonna go
Yeah.
game specific, right? Um, really, really groundbreaking stuff getting us into the DS era. Gen 5, I don't have those same feelings. It could
That's fair.
be
That's
a
fair.
nostalgia difference, but I think more than anything else, it's the Pokedex. The Pokedex is cool. I mean, the restricteds are cool, but you don't oftentimes find people's favorite Pokemon of all time is from Gen 5.
Yeah, no, that's why I agree. I think that's the weakest part of that generation is just the roster. I will say I like the genies and I like the Therian forms,
Yep.
except for the Tornadus one. We don't talk about that one. I
No,
like
what,
Kieran.
what do you have a problem with birds for, dude?
No, don't even start with me.
Moxie
Therian
loves birds,
Tornadus is
especially
Birds
trash.
are great.
That is one of the worst, if not the worst Pokemon I've ever seen.
So fun backstory, Tornadus Therian form literally is the reason we started separating forms from Mons for the draft league.
Oh
It
my
was like-
god.
It was a week-long fight where they were like, no, come on. I was like, no, I don't think you guys understand. Tornadus Therian form, competitively, is some ass. I was like, you can't lump
my
it with the other one.
God.
We argued this for like a month.
True or
That's so bad.
false? We argued this, okay? Everybody told me Tornadus Theria was some ass. And what did it do? It one-shot Calyrex Shadow. Okay,
Goddamn
on
right it
turn
did.
one,
Wait,
outsped
how?
and one-shot it. Choice Scarf with knockoff, get got.
Oh,
And
it learns
then-
knockoff?
Yeah, it's a good mod.
Dude, wait, what?
It has Regenerator.
It
Why?
knockoff and Regenerator with Scarf.
Why?
So I would literally lead it, do a choice something, and then like just swap it out and save it for later.
Oh my god.
He was flawless.
Oh my
it
God.
was everything I wanted to see happen. I felt so vindicated that I won that fight.
That's hilarious. Okay, all right. It gained like 2 points, but like it's still down there for me.
Listen, man, you respect that fat bird.
It's like one step above Bruxish.
Whoa,
That's how
your
far down it
list
is.
is wild.
I actually think Bruxish is endearing, and it takes way too much slander on the internet. Okay, it
Okay,
is unique. It has a great shiny. It looks like me when I wake up. It is endearing. Okay, there's nothing wrong with Bruxish.
That's what my boyfriend
Great
tells
ability,
me.
by the way. It stops priority. Underrated demon. You guys should know that.
so can I also give a shout out to what I think is a Pokemon that gets way too much hate that is actually from Dial's favorite gen? Yo, why are we so mad about the ice cream cone?
I love the ice cream cone.
The
dude.
Nelux is great.
It's
Why are we
great.
so mad? He's a fucking like. We all accepted a puddle of sludge was a Pokemon. We got a problem with an ice cream cone?
Everyone likes Klefki.
And
Those are
he's
just
keys.
keys.
He's all right. And you know what it is? Honestly, it's just haters because they all want to give it a lick, but they're like that's weird.
I think structurally and design wise,
We're just gonna let
What?
Dial get away with that one. We're letting that. You're gonna just let that happen, John.
I think what hurt
Nobody said
Vanilla
it. Sorry.
is it needed an ability or it needed a gimmick that encapsulated the fact that it was just an ice cream cone. Like,
Yeah.
why didn't it have an ability that had something to do with melting? Like, what if it like started off like the opposite of slow start? You know, like
What
just
if it was, like,
something where it
Mimikyu?
becomes progressively worse because
Wait,
it's just a
no.
melting ice cream cone.
You want
It
to
frees
they
his
did defeat
opponent.
us with that.
It freezes your opponent on contact.
How many turns is that?
Braid, yeah, ability braid freeze, just something.
Yeah,
I mean?
I'm
Like,
telling
giving
you.
it snow warning is like, it's whatever.
No, I agree with you. I think they did that Mon dirty, and I do like them on, especially when there's so many other Mons. Like, really, you're gonna complain about Vanillux when Garbodor exists? Like, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right, John. I want to hear your argument because I think I'm gonna surprise some people.
Let me clear my throat a couple more thousand
So we're
times as I
going.
get ready.
Wait,
Just to clarify,
Dozo
we
wrote
are-
a paragraph though.
Dozo always writes a paragraph. Hold on a second. So I need we're going with what we think is the best gen, not which is our favorite, right?
Yes, which for me happens
That's
to be
actually
the
a good
same,
idea.
but I have some strong feelings.
Okay, so I'm gonna let you go, John.
Okay, so I've thought about this a lot, and I'm gonna hit a lot of points. So if I'm very yappy, I apologize
This
in
is the
advance.
PokeYap Podcast.
All right, this is gonna be yappy. All right,
Okay.
I need you guys to hear me out. All right,
Okay.
the Los Angeles Lakers versus the Boston Celtics,
Oh my god.
the New York Yankees versus the Red Sox. Okay,
I know where he's going.
Oh
CM
my
Punk
god.
versus John Cena. Okay, Goku versus Frieza. Good versus evil.
Oh my god.
Jesus versus the devil.
Oh God, we've got
Groudon
religious.
versus Kyogre.
Oh
Okay,
my
the
god.
greatest rivalry in the history of mankind. Okay,
I actually agree though. I agree
Iconic.
though.
Okay, iconic. Not only is it on site for 20 years now, on site. They can't even see each other on the internet. Okay, it is literally on site. Okay, you want to know why it's on site? Because they were given two of the greatest things that have ever happened to Pokemon, and especially competitive Pokemon and VGC. Okay, Rain versus Sun has defined Pokemon for so many years in a competitive aspect, which to me is very important. That's not important to everybody, which is why I have multiple points, right? But I'm giving you the personal, and then I'm going to transition to more of, I guess, of the objective wholeheartedness of it, right? But like Groudon and Kyogre have been relevant since they came out because
100%.
of what they provide to the game, which is it's like this interaction, these chess pieces, they're just iconic, right? And their Rayquaza being the one to negate them. By far, the best legendary lineup in all of Pokemon is Generation 3, the Hoenn region. all right?
100%. 100%
Just
with you.
absolutely iconic and on multiple levels. Even the in-game, the cutscene. Don't tell me when you first saw that cutscene on that GBA and Rayquaza pulled up on him in that 180p graphics that you were like,
At 60 frames per second though.
Yes. Rayquaza with the steel chair coming down from the sky.
Okay. So that's for one. All right. Let's talk about Hoenn. It's almost impossible to have starters that are more iconic than Kanto. It's just kind of how it is, right? Like nothing will ever
Yeah.
be Blastoise, Venusaur, Charizard. We get that. Outside of those three, and Gen 4 has an argument, in my opinion. Gen 3 has the most iconic set of starters.
Wait, what about Gen
second to
2?
only Gen. They're not iconic.
With Meganium.
Meganium's amazing, but it's not iconic. Like I'm talking about, like people like
She's a
you-
queen.
Bullshit on my own
He is a
goddamn show.
queen.
They will sell out. That's what I mean. Like
No,
Mudkip
you're right, you're right, you're right.
all over the internet, and then we're gonna
Yeah.
go right into the design pieces, right? Just anyway. So let's just go starters. Let's look at something else, right? The Hoenn region designed perfectly. Okay, from where you start and how you progress through the game, you level up pretty seamlessly. There's no unnecessary farming or trying to level up or weird level caps. The gyms progress in a way that's complementary to all three starters. The map is linear in a good way. You can't just go from badge 3 to badge 6 for no apparent reason, right?
Mhm.
Really, really well done map. The only argument against the map is there's a lot of water, but I think that kind of adds to the exploratory. And when you consider it's the game that's home to Kyogre, it makes a load of sense that the map is half land, half water.
Yeah,
right?
I never understood that argument, by the way, because I never felt that when I was playing the game. Like, I did notice there was more water, like, in the region, but I didn't feel like it was taking away from the map design.
So map design
7.8 out of 10. Too much water.
really, really good, right? And I get the too much water argument. I just think it reflects on Kyogre and Groudon, which brings me to the team. All right. Outside of Team Rocket, I don't think it gets any better than Team Magma and Team Aqua. Literally
this argument.
two
Hate it.
separate teams. It's on site.
Mhm.
They both have their goals. At least their goals are stated. And you know what? You get boss battles out of both teams multiple times with varying teams. as opposed to some other generations where you might not even get a boss battle out of your opposing team. Just saying, shots fired. But okay, so we got the map. We have iconic legendaries. We have iconic starters. We have the Pokedex. Absolutely amazing, right? So we got weather setters there, right? We got our Torkoal, we got Pelipper, things that are just staples in almost every single game that we take for granted. A lot of cute Pokemon, a lot of strong Pokemon. We got Salamence, by the way, pretty good Pokemon, so I've heard.
Yeah,
It gets Moxie. Just throwing that out there. Um, so I think the Pokedex is like truly amazing. I think the designs are unique, with the exception of Seviper. But even then, you have Zangoose. Uh, just amazing Pokedex, and then the music, which you already mentioned. You
music's good.
cannot tell me that the Elite Four theme for Gen 3 isn't just like fucking amazing. It's by far the best Elite Four theme, I think. It's probably the second best Elite Four of all time. I actually think Gen 4 has the best Elite Four because
I actually do think Gen 4 is better, but Gen 3 is like in top 3 for me.
Exactly right. So if we're looking at overall categories, basically what I'm trying to do is paint the picture that in almost every single category, it's like top 3.
Yeah, that was my
And
argument for Gen 5.
it's
That's why I put it that high for me.
yeah. Also, Battle Frontier was the first successful kind of
Yes.
post-game angle, in my opinion. I thought a lot of people got a lot of hours on Battle Frontier. People will still do like Battle Frontier runs and speed runs and trying to get to max levels and all that stuff to this day. Um, yeah, I'll stop. I feel like I talked way more than I want to, and I'm probably missing some
No,
things I wanted to
that's good
say, but
though.
like it's just genuinely across the board. There's no category where I think it's outside the top 3. And that's my argument.
No, that's fair. I really like Gen 3. And I'm actually upset. I think the reason why Gen 3 is not as high on my list is because I actually stopped playing Pokemon right before Gen 3 came out. Because I was starting to hit middle school and I was like, I'm too cool. Like, I don't play Pokemon anymore. And thank God for my cousin Ryan, who's in the chat right now. Shout out to Survivor Fan 26. Okay, my cousin, one of my best friends, he got into Pokemon because he's a little bit younger than me. And he was like, oh, I'm going to play Emerald. And that was like his first Pokemon game. And I was
Yeah.
playing it. And I was like, wait, actually,
Pog.
you know what? This is actually pretty good. But I can't get into it.
I forgot something. I think I forgot the most important thing, actually. Reggie Steele. Come on. I mean, just, all right, done.
I'm done.
For the
Now I'm
record,
going to walk out, leave.
for the record, the Reggie that we love is Cunty Reggie Rock.
They're all great. That's the problem.
Nah, bro, you're not in the memes. I'm gonna send you some Cunty Reggie Rock memes, and you're gonna
Oh, I've
understand.
seen it with the hoop earrings.
With hoop earrings and the dog and the little purse.
Yeah.
That's funny. Actually,
So-
I low-key like Reggie Ice.
Everyone
that one's cool.
loves a Reggie. Everyone has the one Reggie that they love. And they're
Yeah.
not
Mine is
exclusive to
Steel.
Gen 3, but they started in Gen 3. So, yeah.
Fair. No, I like that argument though, because I feel like you kind of went over everything, so I appreciate it. But I honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I legitimately thought you were gonna say Gen 2.
Oh, Gen 2 is the worst gen of all time, but that's
Ah!
it for today.
Oh, okay,
So-
hold up.
Easily the worst.
Why?
Okay, so I'm gonna
And
give you
don't
my
say
serious
Meganium.
answer. No. I am a Meganium enjoyer. It
Both of
actually
you are
doesn't
wrong.
really have anything to do with the starters. All right.
Okay.
But I'm gonna use some of the same points I made for Gen 3, right?
Okay.
Let's talk about the map of this game.
It's
So
confusing.
the way the mapping works, right, is you get your second gym badge and then you're level 20. And by the time you challenge for your sixth gym badge, you're level 21 because all of the freaking gyms are within 5 minutes of each other in opposite directions. You can go to whichever one you want to out of order. It completely trivializes the game. I know these games are all easy. This game is beyond ridiculously easy because there's no level curve. There's no level spike. There's no way that's
No, there is
optimal
one
to kind of
spike in
play
it, I thought. I thought
The
I
Elite
thought there was
Four?
a spike.
This is Spike.
No. I thought
Badge
with the
7 and badge
gyms.
8.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, but from badges 3 to 6, you could do them out of order,
Yes.
and you're going to be the same level for all 3 of them. So, truly, first and foremost for me, it's map design. It's just like a
Fair.
horrible map to play through. Secondary for me, it's by far the worst Pokedex ever. It is literally Gen 1 DLC. They
Mhm.
added how many Pokemon? Less than 100?
100.
100.
Hold
No,
up.
they
Did
went
they
to
introduce
101. I believe they went to 252.
Yeah, so it has the smallest Pokedex of any gen, and even out of that
Hold on, there's some
101,
bangers. There's bangers in here.
It's almost
there's only
all
100 of
bangers.
them.
100
not all
bangers is better
bangers.
than what you normally get.
At least
Go,
half of them
go,
are
go.
bangers, which you
All
can't say about every
bangers.
gen.
Come on, Noctowl. Let's cut it out.
Okay.
Noctowl's a banger.
First of
Noctowl's
all,
a banger.
I'll have you know.
Without one bird.
I'll have you know right now, a Noctowl is breaking the TCG right now. I'll
Well,
have you know.
Ryan got to my point before I could get there. There's 100 new Pokemon. Out of that 100, a small amount of them are babies of Gen 1, evolutions of Gen 1.
Banger designs.
And by the
Okay,
way,
fair.
all
Fair.
the cool Gen 2 Pokemon that you guys remember as kids, like how about Houndoom? Houndoom is sick. Do you guys know when you get Houndoom in Gen 2?
Isn't
After
it really
you beat
difficult?
Johto.
It's in Kanto.
Yeah.
It's in Kanto. What?
Is it actually?
Yes, it is only available in Kanto. The coolest Gen 2,
That's cringe.
you could say route encounter, is only available in Kanto. Sorry. Same thing for Tyranitar. Tyranitar
think-
is sick.
Yeah.
He's post game.
He's a pseudo. They're all post game.
Okay, but
No,
hold on.
that's
hold on.
not entirely true.
I think the issue is I think Game Freak stumbled upon an accidental success with Red and Blue and didn't actually know what they were doing. And then when it was time to make Gold and Silver, they like overcommitted by doing this whole like this will be the definitive version of Pokemon and just like dropped the ball because they didn't know what they were doing. I mean, let's be honest, Game Freak like they kind of suck. And I mean that in the nicest way possible because I absolutely love Pokemon.
They're also a shockingly small team.
They
in
are
like the grand scheme.
They are. So, I mean, okay, I get what you're saying. Like, the level spike was a problem. The Whitney's Miltank was annoying.
Yeah.
Like, the map was bad. I do think, though, like, overall, I think the story was really good. I know you guys don't care about the story, but I thought the story and, like, the legendaries were pretty good.
The legendaries are cool. I actually love Lugia. I think Lugia is iconic.
Same.
And Pokemon 2000 is the
Ugh,
best Pokemon
so
movie of all
good.
time.
Lugia, Ho-Oh,
you got me
Entei,
there.
Reiku, Suicune.
I hate Ho.
Those
Great
are
legendary.
I hate Suicune. Suicune
I hate Ho. No, Suicune is sick. Ho-Oh sucks. I hate Ho-Oh.
Suicune has ribbons floating out of his asshole. He's the worst.
Yeah,
You
and
got-
Ho-Oh was just like weird.
You got me
Ho
on the
was a
legendaries.
fucking awesome.
Sorry,
When you
what, John?
say the story, right? Does
Yeah.
anybody know how the Team Rocket, which by the way, that's the team from Gen 1, how the Team Rocket storyline ends?
I honestly don't remember. It's been so long since I
You
played.
fight some random dude with like a level 44 Eradicate or something like that. He's like, yeah, man, we haven't seen Giovanni in a while. By the way, that's the end of this story thread.
That's actually why I don't
That's
remember
it.
that.
Was it? No Geo, no new Team Rocket boss, no conclusion.
I guess
it's
you know,
just
honestly-
the admins. The admins were the boss of Team Rocket.
The admin.
Hold on.
I don't
No,
know
no,
if
wait,
the admin had
I'm-
a name. Their name
I'm
might have been
throwing-
Dude.
I'm throwing a flag on the play real quick. Hold on. You are out here shit talking that Team Rocket's like, hey, we're reforming, we're bringing back Giovanni, we are going to like take back over the Johto and Kanto region, and we're
Yes.
getting our organized crime back together. And you're like, yo, that story sucks. Instead, I want the story of the two teams warring against each other who didn't pass any basic fucking geology class.
right?
Because suddenly the idea of there being no water in the world is a good one. Or, oh my God, we need more water and less land because humans have too much space, apparently. So why don't we just kill ourselves in infinite rain? And then on top of that, as the protagonist, you sit there and you go, hold on. This rain cult is really stupid. I'm going to go team up with the sun cult, and I'm going to prove that I'm also a fucking idiot. And I'm going to try and help the sun cult win. That way it's all hunky-dory. What are you talking about? They are the dumbest team in history. They're dumber than Team Yell, and they were just
stop.
saying.
No, I'm cutting you off. I'm sorry.
No.
I'm sorry. Team
Dial.
Yell was atrocious.
Kyle, did Team Yell try and kill themselves?
They were so stupid. I don't know if
Did
they
they
knew
try
how
and
to.
kill themselves?
Do you
Dial,
wanna
did they
know-
try and just kill themselves? Did they actively advocate that they
I
should just
skipped
all
every
die?
cutscene. It was so bad.
Do you want to know what stopped Team Magma and Team Aqua? All right, a
Generational
legendary
hate.
fucking dragon that flew in from the sky.
Rayquaza
to stop the
was
generational
cool.
hate.
Hold
Do you want
on.
to know what stopped
Do you
Team
wanna-
Rocket in Gen 2? a Grimer or something like that. Like whatever you
was
brought
the
with you
protagonist.
to counter their Eradicate. All right, at least these dudes were on
What?
site.
No, we're
in
gonna
here,
let's stop
bro.
this revisionist Emerald history real quick,
Nah,
okay,
bro.
buddy? Because we're talking about
It's
Ruby
truth.
and Sapphire. You know what
And
stopped
Emerald.
them? Actually, even in Emerald, what stopped these generational fucking doofuses
Yeah.
was their plans succeed, and then they went, "Oh no, this was so dumb."
At
That's
least
how.
they had cutscenes.
That
and
is
at least
how
they had a
their
manager.
story ends. You want to talk about how Team Rocket ends? Team Rocket ends where they go, shit, man, we can't reform the mob. We've failed where Giovanni failed. It's time to pack it up.
Yeah.
We probably weren't as good as we thought we were.
So
And
what
Team
was
Team Aqua and Team Magma went, oh no, my plan succeeded. Oh, this is the consequences of my own actions. It's too sunny. I'm getting the sunburn, boss.
at least
Fuck
their
outta here with
plans
they're a good
involved
team.
capturing really strong Pokemon, just like Giovanni's. Yo, Mewtwo, he's gonna be lit. I'm gonna take over the world. Yo, Groudon, Kyogre, lit. I'm gonna take over the world. Gen 2, yo, I got this Raticate, bro, and he knows he has
here's the
Fatani,
thing.
bro.
You're
And
out
then
here
what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna
conflating.
hide in a completely different
You're out
region,
here
and I'm gonna slowly
conflating.
wait for the protagonist.
You are conflating Team Rocket in the anime with Team Rocket in the game. Team Rocket in the game was organized crime. They're
Slowpoke
just
Tails.
straight, yes,
Slowpoke
they're
Tails.
straight up the mob. They're literally showing up and they're cutting off tails of Pokemon, selling them for $1 million fucking dollars.
Yeah, so
They
that they
are
could buy protein
loaded.
for their Raticate so they could EV trade it. Their plan was stupid, bro.
And it was
You can't
fucking.
take over the
It
world
was
with
rich.
Eradicate
Team
and
Rocket
Zubat.
was out here fucking
Level
rich as
36.
shit,
Crazy.
living life, and they're like, you know what? We just need to fucking get the band back together and be fucking richer. And then guess what? You showed up again, and you're like, hey, buddy, this ain't gonna fucking work. And you were a 10-year-old in a dangerous situation against the literal mob instead
Oh my
of
God.
fuck you stupid ass fish.
Yeah,
I
mean,
got lots of land.
That
this
was
was the-
iconic in Gen 1. That's what made
Magma?
Gen 1 so great.
Magma and Aqua are just the absolute worst teams. They're so
that goes.
fucking dumb.
I mean,
First
listen,
of all,
they're
sorry,
not-
go down.
no, I was just gonna say they're not great. I don't love them, but I do think that they're miles better than anything that we've gotten since, honestly, Gen 5. Like Gen 5, I didn't even love the rival team because I felt like it was an interesting idea and it was a little bit of a deeper concept, but like it always did irk me. It's like you don't want to capture Pokemon, but like you're battling me with them. That was the only thing that always kind of irked me. But like Team Flare, like that kind of sucked. Like Team Flare was bad. Like, do you even know what Team Flare was trying to do aside from blow everything up?
So Team Flare is what happens when you take Team Rocket and Team Aqua and Magma and you fuse them together because they're the mob, but also the fashion mob, who then
Fair.
find out that their goal was to kill themselves. And that's why they're so stupid. Just like Team Aqua and Team Magma.
But like, I don't
Team
know.
Rocket.
I don't know. They just kind of, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? All right. What is your argument, Moxie? What is
Oh.
the best gen? We still haven't heard from you.
So, with all this debating into what everyone knows about me, I am assuming everyone is going to say, well, Moxie, it's Gen 2.
He's going
And
Gen
while
8. I feel
Gen 2 is my favorite gen.
You can't
Personally.
go Gen 2. You can't go Gen 8, right?
It is my favorite.
He's going Gen 8. Gen 8. Gen 8. Gen
It's-
8. Gen
It's Gen 9. Gen 9 is just
Yeah,
the
I'm
best
fine with that.
Pokemon we've had.
I meant to say 9. Damn
Yeah,
it.
Gen 9 is just actually the best Pokemon we've had, guys. I alluded to it earlier, but like we literally cannot sit here and not say
Okay.
it is the best Pokemon game definitively. We are open fucking world. While there is its flaws, right, where you can go to certain areas and you're kind of level capped out, you can wind up going anywhere that you want. You can catch such a great, robust version of the decks. We got 2 incredibly solid DLCs, right? If you play through Kitakami, when
I
you are
loved it.
intentionally meant to play through Kitakami, right? About like your second gym, first gym badge, somewhere around there. Kitakami is such a wonderful little experience. It is so much different than when you played it after beating the game. The Blueberry Academy, I think, is genuinely, if we're going to speak pound for pound, the hardest bit of Pokemon content we have ever gotten in our lives. you actually had to think, you had to have a team and be ready and be prepared for it.
I agree for you.
I think there are people who will say that the battle tower are the hardest, and I think these people have not played the battle tower recently enough, because battle towers are not hard, they're cheese.
Yeah, they're free.
Yeah, they're
I
just.
actually think it's Gen 4 Elite 4, if I can quickly say.
No, I
what?
see.
The hardest thing that Pokemon's ever put us through, because Gen 4 Elite
Gen
4
4
had
Elite
EV
4 was,
training, and
dude,
if you
that
didn't
was
have
so
something
tough.
for Garchomp, you would actually lose. But I 100% understand what you're saying, Mox. It's like top 3.
Yeah, it's genuinely, it's one of these things where like you have to, like, if you play it and you just have like some random team of scrubs, like you get shit stomped through the Blueberry Academy. Like you can't,
Yeah.
like, genuinely, for those of you who maybe don't remember, or weren't around when it happened, when we here on the channel were like, hey, we're going to go through the Blueberry Academy, you all voted that I go through it with a Delibird, and we got a shiny Delibird, and that Delibird couldn't get a kill at level 100 on any mons because everything was EV trained. We had to abandon the plan because the Delibird could not fucking function in that environment. Like
Skill
a
diff.
level, it was skill diff 100%. And he was what, like 20 levels above everything, 20, 25 levels.
Delibird.
Yeah, he literally could fucking function. I think the legendaries are actually very good in Gen 9. I genuinely like the legendary crew. I think it is an incredibly strong Pokédex lineup that's going on. I love the fact that you get this Koraidon and you get to walk around and run with the Koraidon the whole time.
Yeah.
And I know, I think I've alerted to it on I don't remember if it was the first PokeYap or if it was just another conversation dial and I had. So I played through it recently with my daughter, and watching her experience it gives me a whole new perspective on the game, right? There's so many things that like she's running through that like for her were actually like difficult because she's young, she's a kid, and like they were decent challenges. Like the olive roll is the stupidest pre-gym thing in the world for us.
Oh my god, I forgot.
My daughter is 5. Being able to function both of these sticks at the same time for a 5-year-old is not easy. She was actually challenged to try and learn how to function the camera and be able to walk around and play properly because of that. And I got to watch like, oh shit, that's why the olive roll is here, to try and teach you how to use the camera. And so one thing I'll say, right? I think Arvin's story is some of the most touching piece of content we've ever had in a Pokemon context. Obviously, I have that clip on TikTok where I make fun of the fact that the AI professor is like, your dad's dead. But running through the game again and paying attention from the moment that professor talks to you, knowing that is a robot beforehand, you can tell it's a robot.
Yeah.
The dialogue is written so cold and unthinking, and it's just, here is your task. Please go finish the task. Goodbye. And it's like, oh shit. They've been saying from drop 1, that is a goddamn robot, right? And it's like an actual like nice long-term story that if you get to follow up on, genuinely, and I mean this wholeheartedly, it has its technical flaws. I am not going to sit here and try and defend the fact that the frame rate is ass. I'm not going to try and defend the pop-ins, but we have a generational dex. We have the healthiest the competitive metagame has ever felt with the best gimmick they have ever introduced in a Pokemon game. We have the Pokemon branching out into 3 different stories to be able to do what you want, expanding on shiny hunting, expanding on competitive to get people into the game to actually do what is a true end game of Pokemon, which is play competitive battles and against other people. I just think, bar none, Gen 9 is the best Pokemon game that we've ever gotten. And I think I cannot wait for the cycle of Pokemon to hit where it is, this game is trash. Maybe it wasn't so trash. I remember this game pretty fondly. Hey, Gen 9 was incredible.
I've actually gone through that cycle with myself on Scarlet and Violet and Sword and Shield. And I really think it's a symptom of just the internet, because I remember when Sword and Shield came out, I was like, oh, this is garbage. So Scarlet and Violet came out. In fact, I wasn't even going to get Scarlet and Violet, and I literally only bought it so I could play with my cousin, because it was the first time they had Pokemon multiplayer. So I was like, all right, like, I guess I might as well try it with him. If I don't do it now, I'm not really going to get the chance to level through it with him. And I played it for like 2 days, and I was like, this isn't me. I'm done with Pokemon. And then when I started dating Alex, he's like, oh, well, you like Pokemon, let's get a game to play together. And he picked it up, and then I ended up playing it and actually really liking it. But I was always like, I liked it. the last like 35 to 45 minutes of gameplay with in area, like once you hit area 0, from that point on, the game is actually superb. Like I
Yeah.
think it's the best end game Pokemon has ever have, or maybe second best. I guess you can kind of argue because I think I actually really like Sun and Moon's ending, but that's a whole separate thing. Either way, it's a top
Yeah.
3 ending for sure.
Yep.
It's hype. It's badass. The music is on point. What they did with the rival Koraidon. I mean, the AI professor was cool, right? And dropping the ball. But when like the rival Koraidon came out, and like your Koraidon was like scared, but was like, "No, I got this." Like that was so cool. I was like, that is amazing.
And like subtle detail, the fact that the AI professor drops out all the Paradox Pokemon and every single one's in a fucking Master Ball. Yo, that is such a power move. He just
So
goes
good.
Master Ball.
Yeah, so cool.
Master Ball. Master Ball.
I came around on Scarlet and Violet. I really did, because honestly, like I have found that that's my most played game. And it's maybe it's because I play a little bit of the competitive side. It's kind of kept me involved. But I actually really enjoyed it at the end. I had a lot of issues with it. Like Ryan said earlier in the chat, like a lot of the world felt bland. That's my number one issue with Scarlet and Violet. The bugs in the game, in the FPS aside, because we all agree that that's trash. My next biggest complaint was that I just felt that the world was a little too bland. But for a first pass, I thought it was pretty good by Game Freak standards.
So if I could get in on Gen 9, I actually agree with almost everything that Moxie said. I love Gen 9. It's probably my third after 3 and 4 for me. The issue that I have is when we talk about Gen 9 and we compare it versus some of like the earlier generations, right? Gen 3, Gen 4. Gen 9 has the benefit of coming out now, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of the quality of life and the story and the animations and the things that it gets over the others is because it came out now, so to speak, 2 years ago, whatever you mean. But I think because it was released in this day and age, we also have to hold it accountable to our expectations of this day and age. And I don't just mean the graphics and bugs. For me, the biggest letdown with Gen 9 is its lack of working and good multiplayer options, right?
100%.
So the generation directly before this one, right? The closest thing to it in terms of technology looked amazing. It had a DLC with by far the best multiplayer Pokemon thing that they've ever done, which was the Dynamax Adventures. People loved it. Shiny hunters loved it. VGC competitors would use it to farm their legendaries with specific IVs, EVs, right? It was a great start. And then Gen 9 decided, yo, we're going to take that great idea. And what if we made it absolutely positively garbage?
Yeah.
And the Terra battles in multiplayer are so abysmal in an age where we are dying for multiplayer features. You know what I mean? Like we can't hold Gen 3 or Gen 4 to this standard because that's not what the time was. But for this game to come out in the last 2 years and give us Terra battles, first of all, they're not fun. Even if they worked, they would still be not fun, but they don't work. And then once again, I'm a competitive player. I know Moxie is as well. I know most people in the chat, but not everybody. If you do play competitive, even if you're just watching a stream, is there anything more lifeless than watching a Gen 9 VGC battle compared to a Gen 8 VGC battle?
Dude, compared to
It's
Battle
like,
Revolution, it's disgusting. Battle Revolution has better animations.
It's 3 old ladies in the back doing this. And then they have that one kid with the balloon. Like, so while I agree with Moxie and the Pokedex, absolutely amazing. I agree with Moxie. The Arvin story, absolutely amazing. I agree with Moxie. But like it has the benefit of so much, but it failed to me in the one thing it could have been, which was finally a generation that's like fun to play with others.
Can I interject with some copium?
Facts.
I 120% agree with you, actually. So Scarlet and Violet obviously came out in 2022, which means it was in development for at least a year, at least 2 years before that, probably. Right after Sword and Shield came out, I'm guessing. So for a game, now we're in 2025. And what has changed basically in the last 5 years since they started development on Scarlet and Violet is I really think the Pokemon community has exploded. Whether it's not even just competitive, I just think you see more shiny hunters on Twitch every day. You see more people doing like Dynamax adventures and stuff like that, right? I think going into Gen 10, Game Freak has to capitalize on the fact that it's not just their competitive scene that exploded. Give streamers, because streamers are a free advertising for the game. I really think they need to lean into that and give streamers more options to play with other people on stream, or even just for you and your friends to play for things. Not that streamers are a number one priority, but like Dynamax Adventures, for example, is clunky, but it works. And it's a great thing for somebody to play on stream. Free advertisement. When my friends come over or Ryan comes over, we're like, we kind of itch a little bit to play Pokemon, but all we could do is shiny hunt with a fucking sandwich, which is like trash.
And then you get the shiny in 5 minutes.
I've never failed the sandwich. Just saying. I've never failed the
sandwich. But are you having fun doing the sandwich? Are you having fun shiny hunting for 3 seconds? No.
To be honest, I love shiny hunting in 3 seconds because I just want to troll anybody watching me. I want you to all know how much better I am at shiny hunting than you.
Yeah.
But like, I would love a Dynamax Ventures type thing.
Just do it better.
Just improve it. Fix the issues with it.
So what I will never defend is how shitty Terra battles function currently.
Yes.
What I think they're so butt. What I think they tried to do, and it's where like I'm not trying to excuse it, but I can see where they went for, is like when it comes for a battling experience, one of the things that sucks about Dynamax Adventures is just fucking waiting, right? You're waiting for somebody else to make their fucking pick. It can make the whole thing become a slog. Yeah. And the fact that the Dynamax mechanic itself winds up being limited to a singular person, that also kind of sucks, right? So like I could see where they were like in Terra Raids where they're like, okay, we're going to make people go with this. Like you're going to make your own turns. You're all just going to go for it, right? You don't have to wait for somebody else. I
liked that change. It just was poorly implemented.
Yes. I like the fact that anyone can Terra. I think it's like, okay, cool. We're going to have this. Terra's going to be how you break the shields. Like, I'm like, okay, cool. I can definitely see where we are going. What's up, Kira? I can see the idea of like how they are trying to formulate everything. And then the problem is, I think they probably got very far into the development cycle and they went, guys, this shit still isn't working. And then they have no way of cutting.
Yeah.
Right? You have no way to pivot.
100%.
So I think it's one of those things where they were like, they got really ambitious with what they wanted to do. And then they just got stuck.
Can I say one quick thing on that point?
Yeah.
If only they had more developers because the game was properly priced, and then they could have made the game better for everyone. If it was, I don't know, $80 so that they could, I don't know, pay the developers.
I'm just saying, okay? I have more playtime on each of my Pokemon games than any other game, even though every generation, everyone goes, oh, this is the worst Pokemon game ever. This is the worst Pokemon game. I get more than $80 worth of gameplay out of this, right? Like I've spent $60 on a AAA game that I've beaten in 10 hours, okay? And I still enjoy the experience, like Super Mario Wonder, great game. I still hated paying $60 for it, but you know what? I was like, this is a very innovative, like Nintendo game. It is what it is. But I beat that in 10 hours, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Pokemon, I could easily get a few hundred hours on that, even if I'm not playing a lot of competitive. Just going through, completing the Pokédex, having fun with some friends or whatever. Like, I feel like, I actually do feel like Scarlet and Violet was worth the $60. I would have loved to pay another $20 and actually get a working game, but I think we might be outliers on that.
So I think it always keeps going back to and again, maybe the Switch 2 comes out and the enhanced version sucks, and then I will shut the fuck up about this. I think we're playing on an underpowered console for a game that is trying to do so many things, and I think they just sat there and like, guys, we can't fucking do it. And again, Pokemon is in the absolute tightest development cycle of all time. It is the only game on the market that cannot be delayed because it has so much merchandise tied to this fucking product coming out. So again, it's why I think you got to this point in Terra Raids where like, we're going to fix people's main complaints with Dynamax Adventures, and they're building up and they're building up and they're building up. And then they probably are at the point where they got maybe like 8 months till ship. And they're like, all right, how's Terra Raids going? And they're like, they don't work. And it's like, well, that's how you get Terra Shards, which you need for our main gimmick. It's how you get this. It's how you get this. It's how you get this. And like,
Shiny Hunters. Shiny hunters need it for the herbs.
And you're sitting there like, yeah, they don't fucking work that well.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, well, let's get it to work as good as it can in this state, and we got to ship the game. And go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and the problem is, you're right. They first of all, in the Pokemon world, I'm pretty sure the games account to like less than 15% of their total sales. They make all of their money through the merchandise and through the TCG. So I get that that's lower on their priority poll. They get less of a budget. I get it, because they literally just need to say, hey, Game Freak, make us like another 200 Pokemon so that we can, like, or 100 Pokemon to like market the next 3 years of this. We need to make more plushies. We need to make more TCG. I get it. And I just want to go back to what I was saying earlier. I do think if you're paying $60 for a full game, you should be getting a game that performs better than that.
Yes.
The only reason I give Game Freak a cop-out is because they have such a small team. To their own reasoning, they've been like, hey, we don't want to expand. But I have hopium for Gem 10 because they combined with Ilka and I believe another studio to create Pokemon Works, which is a specific company just dedicated to making Pokemon games. So like Game Freak actually makes other games. It's just you only know about Pokemon. So now they have a team. They brought in Ilka, and I know everybody hates Ilka, but that was Ilka's first video game, was BDSP. So if you bring them in and actually train them and actually don't just throw them into a fire and say, hey, listen, let's train you how to do this. Now we just absorbed another 100, 200 developers that can actually help us make these Pokemon games. Like, I think ZA looks pretty good, and it looks like it runs pretty good. So a combination of Game Freak expanding and the Switch 2 not running like a tablet from 2009, I do think Gen 10 will be better.
So
and just to kind of touch on BDSP real quick in defense of Ilka, and then I'll let you go, John. I cannot stress enough. They delivered exactly what they said they were going to do. It is a carbon copy, chibi version of Pokemon Diamond and Platinum. And they said that's what they were giving you, and you got it, and the internet got really mad that is exactly what they got, and I don't understand why, because at no point did they say that wasn't that.
I liked BDSP, personally. I wish it was Platinum, but like for what it was...
We all wish it was Platinum, but they gave you exactly what they said they were giving you.
100%. That's why I wasn't mad. I played the game and I enjoyed it. Sorry, go John.
No, it's okay. So, hot take, continuing off of what you guys said, we've gotten zero news on Gen 10. This is going to be the longest it's ever been between releases of generations. That's the first part of my prediction, which is a good thing. The second part of my prediction is Gen 10 will be the best Pokemon game of all time, and it'll be the first Pokemon game since the DS era that does not have VGC. I think they're going to abandon Pokemon battles as we know them, more or less. It might have the same structure. I'm not entirely sure, but I think with technology and with the way gaming is and DLCs and multiplayer, they're finally going to take a leap, and they're going to transition to a better video game experience, and they're going to move VGC to Pokemon Champions. That's why I think it's going to take extra long for Gen 10 to come out, and they've been real radio silent about it.
To add to that too, because I've been seeing a lot of people getting confused. I still think if you're a VGC player, you're going to need to buy Gen 10 because you need to be able to get the Pokemon. Like, I don't think Champions
They'll find a way to get the money.
Oh, 100%. I don't, and I'm actually glad. I want to buy a new Pokemon game and I want to play it. And I want to have some personal ties with Pokemon. I think Pokemon's best enjoyed when you're not genning Pokemon, when you're actually going out and you're doing your shiny hunts, you're trading with people. I think Pokemon having value, like some sort of personal attachment to it, is better for the health of the franchise. I mean, if you're a player and you just need to get a bunch of Pokemon, I mean, you probably don't care as much. But like when I first stepped into my first VGC match in person, when I went to my local and I sat in front of Brendan Zhang, senior world champion, for my first local ever. I just started playing VGC 2 months ago, and I threw out my Pokeballs, and like my Raging Bolt came out. I was like, that's my Raging Bolt. That's the Raging Bolt I caught in my Ultra Ball that I EV trained fighting against Brendan Zhang. And then I got one shot and lost in literally 3 turns.
Yeah.
The point though, but the point though was that like I felt that attachment, and I think with Gen 10, you're gonna still need to catch the Pokemon in there and then transfer it. I don't think it's gonna be a showdown where you make it. Sorry, John, go ahead.
No, that's exactly what I was just going to cap your point. Champions will not be showdown as much as some of us might want it to be showdown because no EV trading. It will not be showdown, but it's already going to be connected to home. So it's just going to be where you send people, and it's going to be the engine from competitive. I also think they might be sick and tired of making gimmicks. Like if
I
I'm a
agree.
developer
How do you
right now,
top Terra anyway?
You can't.
like
You can't.
what are we doing, and how many more gimmicks can we make? Like if they allow champions to cycle formats. It allows it to always be connected to Pokemon Home. We're in the digital age, so it doesn't matter where you are. You could be on your cell phone and you should be able to grab a Pokemon from Gen 10 or Pokemon Go and put it into champions. And then you probably spend a little currency to EV train it if you want to do it the quick way. Whatever it is, they'll microtransact us, which is fine. It's not a big deal. But it won't be showdown. It's just going to be a hub that they can update, a hub that they can constantly cycle formats so they're not stuck like they're stuck right now. We're going to get out of double restricted format, and then what? We
My
don't have
guess
any
would
other
be a
gimmicks.
Terraless format, but yeah, it's like
Yeah.
there's something exciting. Like, is
Yeah.
is anybody really excited for that, or like a mythical format? Like, I agree with you. I think Champions is the future of BGC. I'm actually really excited for what they could do for seasons. So like, you have a lot of online games nowadays that are very seasonal, right? You have Path of Exile, Diablo, um, Hearthstone, right? Pokemon TCG. Everything's seasonal because that's just how the gaming sphere has gone. People pick up a game, grind really hard for 2 or 3 weeks, and then take a break. That's just the new way of playing games. I'm really excited to see what they can do in terms of keeping the meta fresh. Because one of the problems that we have now, right, is that they just keep adding more Pokemon. And I would love to see a Scarlet and Violet format with no restricteds and then banning like the top 10% of Pokemon. Almost like a regulation H. But maybe then take another top 5% off of that. So there's no Sneasler, there's no
Rillaboom.
Archaludon, yeah, no
Yeah.
Rillaboom, stuff like that, no
With
Incineroar. Like I think that could be really cool. And then the next month after that, maybe you ban the top 20%. And then maybe after
with
that, maybe it's
Yeah.
the Terras. I don't know.
So they
Sorry,
with
go ahead.
did
champion. Yeah.
they did something like that similar in Sword and Shield, and personally,
Yes.
I found it a fun format because I got to use Porygon Z, and it was a great time. But one thing I did want to touch on before we get too far away from it, basically to what you said, John, with Gen 10, I don't think that they are ever going to get to a point where they can take like how VGC battles or like the core battle mechanics of Pokemon out of the game. Mostly because I think everyone's spot on that Champions is the future of competitive battling. I don't think there's any way of really getting away from that, right? It's very clear they want to make it more accessible for you to get into Pokemon battles. I think the problem is in the core game. That is how you are marketing your competitive scene, because if it's not in your core game, how are you realistically going to get people who have never done it before and get them to pull into it, right? You can't just expect somebody who's never done a turn-based battle to suddenly just want to jump into Champions and do a turn-based battle if you're having some kind of dynamic legend style fighting, right? So I don't think you're ever going to get to a point where we're going to see Pokemon battling as we know it outside of the main series games, especially because the main game is how you're supposed to learn how battling like functions, right? Like, can you imagine how hard it would be for somebody who they just signed on to Pokemon Champions for the first time? Like, think of like Dial's like thing, right? Dial has got the team. She's played through Gen 10. She's super excited. She's so ready to go into it. And then she loads her Pokemon into Champion. She spent all this time. She's super excited. And then she queues into against you or me. And then they just get shit stomped out of existence because they don't know how the game even functions. Right?
Yeah.
Well, that's just assuming Champions is poorly designed. Like, I mean, it should have obviously a ranking system. B, it's gonna have tutorials. It's gonna like imagine it as like a TCG app, but it's not a TCG. That's how
Yeah,
they should
but
treat it.
think of like how those TCGs app work. They also, assume you know how to play the TCG to some extent, right? Like you have to have a way of doing the TCG, and those apps are meant to get you into the card game itself. You know what I mean? I think the way we got to look at it is the main games themselves are going to be your way of getting into Champions, because you have right now this blooming competitive scene, right? I'm pretty sure Worlds, didn't they like rent out one of the fucking baseball stadiums? Like we're in a point now, we're in like a Pokemon, like an actual renaissance of this. And I think gutting it from your main game, you're crippling your own movement right at its knees. I think you're at a point now where like we're getting to the point where the video game can start like almost rivaling the card game, not in the collector's market sense, right? But as far as like a player base on it.
Yeah.
And I think if you cut that out of the game, you've essentially just kneecapped yourself in what you've got going. Don't get me wrong, I would love for them to do more with how the game works, but I don't think we're going to see an elimination of like battling as we know it.
Yeah, my assumption would be that so my assumption would be in Gen 10, the battle stadium that we know it is gonna disappear. I don't think you're gonna be able to do like ranked ladder and stuff on Gen 10. I think what they'll want you to do and say, hey, capture everything you want, play through the story of Gen 10, maybe battle your friends, but if you want to play, you got to go into champions. That would be my guess. Because I've been seeing, and the reason why I say that is because I've been seeing a lot of people talk about how they think now that we're moving to champions, the main series game is going to drop the turn-based format and go to like Legends experimental battle things. I'm gonna be honest with you, I wasn't a huge fan of the battle system of Arceus anyway.
Yeah, it was
ZA
terrible.
I hated it. It was awful.
Yeah, ZA looks fun, but I wouldn't want that to be my main series Pokemon game. I'm fine with the turn-based stuff, and hopefully this also allows them to make cool. If they want to make new gimmicks, they don't have to worry about it being balanced because it's just going to be in the Gen 10 games. So I do think that the regular turn-based is staying. It's just turn-based system is staying. I don't think you're going to show up to a regional and be playing the Gen 10 game. I think you're going to show up to a regional and have champions downloaded on your Switch or on your phone, and then you're going to battle that way. And you're just everything's going to go and funnel through home, whether it's Go or it's Gen 10, it's going to funnel through home.
Yeah, I think the way things are with a cell phone, there'll be ways to educate a brand new consumer on how to Poke Battle through the phone. It's kind of like, I mean, look at how Go was, you know what I mean? And that's way different, but even that has a competitive scene that people just learned because they just downloaded it on their
greatest
phone.
competitive scene of all time.
Oh no, Moxie. Oh no, Moxie. And you have to count. You have to count while you do it. No, you have to count.
Motherfuckers! Yo, it's a shield!
I'm gonna break my phone.
Same. I think I might have.
No, I will say this. I do. Have you guys? Okay, back up. Have you guys played the Pokemon trading card game live app on your phone?
No.
Not Pocket, the actual app.
Yes.
Okay, so Moxie, just so you know, when you load that up, it gives you free decks, and then it shows you how to play the game like from the beginning. Like you draw 7 cards, you play a basic. This is your bench. This is your energy. It does give you a basic tutorial, and then there's like maybe 20 or 30 like. I wouldn't call it a story mode, but it's like 20 or 30 trainers that you could fight against to like practice and like learn the game. Oh, okay. Well, this one uses only basics. This one uses like stage 2s. Oh, this one has 2 different types of Pokemon in their like stuff like that. So, I would think if you're putting it on a mobile market, a market that historically has never gotten any Pokemon battling ever on it, right? You have to assume that once you put on this market, 99% of the people on it have never experienced Pokemon before, or at least Pokemon outside Pokemon Go, right? Because Pokemon Go is already there, or Unite. I think you have to have some sort of tutorial system. And then maybe they like it enough and say, well, I don't like the competitive side. I just want to play against the computer. Then maybe they go buy a Switch.
Yeah, I just don't think we can rely on champions to be the way into the main game. I think you always have to try and position it to be the other way.
Agree. No, I agree. I do think that Gen 10 is going to be the hub, and then if you're a sweaty player, you're going to be playing champions. But you can't have one without the other. Like the sweaty players need Gen 10 to get the Pokemon, and then the new players need Gen 10 to get into the competitive scene.
In a perfect world, they'll make more money off of champions than they will Gen 10.
Let me ask you guys, would you rather pay $60 for champions and have everything unlocked, or would you rather it be free but pay for cosmetics and or pay for battle items? And by battle items, I mean like EV training, not like, oh, I'm gonna have to buy a leftovers for like 99 cents.
Free with paid EV training cosmetics.
Okay, yeah, I would want free with paid cosmetics, not EV training.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I lean towards free with cosmetics with no EV training. I have a feeling they're probably going to put something in there like a patch or something like that, just because it's easy money. I don't like it because I think it makes the game slightly less accessible. But I'm also in the camp where like I personally wouldn't mind paying $60. I just don't see them putting a $60 game on mobile. So I just the
And also,
whole point
they
of putting
can.
it. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, with champions, they're gonna be able to promote events ahead of time and
Hmm.
have some of the biggest like online only tournaments of like all time, and
Yeah.
like do some like big prizing and things like that. Like it's the scope, the amount of people that have never touched a gen in their life that will download the app is probably a lot larger than what we think.
Oh,
And like
100%.
Hundred
that's
percent.
yeah, like that's the juice.
That's
So
why they're
I hope
putting
they
it
do
on
it well.
mobile
Yeah.
because they're trying to appeal to an entirely new market. They're trying to grab people that have never. Maybe you liked Pokemon Go, but you don't own a Switch and you don't feel like paying $300 for a Switch and then $60 for the Pokemon game and then $20 for the DLC. Like maybe you don't want to lay down $400, but like maybe you'll dabble on Showdown or something like that. I don't think Showdown's really the most accessible anyway for a brand new player. I think you have to have at least some knowledge to go into it. Like
Yep.
I'll never forget too the first time I ever went on Showdown. I played an OU match. I didn't know anything about Smogon. I didn't know anything, and I like slept 2 Pokemon. And the guy was like whining and being like, "Oh, sleep hacks, sleep hacks." And I'm like, "Bro, what? Why can't I sleep 2 of your Pokemon?" And he got so mad at me. He's like, "You have to forfeit."
That's
I
because
was
he's
like,
bad.
"I'm not
Yes.
forfeiting," and I didn't understand it. But like, you have to understand, a lot of players are gonna go in like that. But yeah, he was trash. Actually, he ended up leaving, and then I got the win. But
Yeah.
Oh, let's go. Yeah, but like, no, I'm with you. I think it's an opportunity for this. Like I said, I think we're really at a sort of like a fever pitch of the series.
yeah,
And I think it's really an opportunity to just blow the floodgates open in competitive Pokemon. I personally can't wait to see what Champions does. I want
give
them
me
to
a
avoid.
spectator mode. That's all I
Yes,
want.
I want them to personally avoid any way of buying some form. I say power, right? Like I look at it as like a pay to win almost thing. I don't want us to be in a situation where like I can just fork over my credit card and have my Pokemon get EV trained. I don't want that at all.
Neither do I.
Just
They
make it
might.
just make it easier for me to do it in the game. If you have it in there, like I'm assuming the logic of it is just going to be like, okay, we want to encourage people to buy the game and do this and not give me money. But if you're going to give me money, I'll
Yeah,
take
actually,
your
that's a good
money.
point. I wonder if you can EV train in. I mean, you have to be able to EV train in the gen, right?
In the gen,
In Gen
100%.
10.
There's no way to not.
I mean, I feel like that's just so core to
I
the
just hope
game, whether or
champions
not
look
you're
good.
playing competitive or not. Like,
I mean,
people need that.
EV Train as a whole is just you battle with a Pokemon, and then your Pokemon is stronger because of it. So like, there's and the entire thing to meant to do that is to kind of go back to like your experience with Pokemon, right? Dial of like, I've grinded up my own Pokemon. I have a bond with my Pokemon. My Charizard is different than anybody else's Charizard, and like that's sort of like the vibe they go for when it comes to EV training and your IVs and all that. You know, it's just sometimes you train your Pokemon in the wild and it sucks. So you gotta go give him some drugs and some steroids. Come here, buddy. Get a little protein in you.
Where did that come from?
Protein.
You just I have not seen that.
I after my second Meganium storm out, I went and I got a protein
Oh
shake.
my god.
We
All
do love
right.
protein shakes.
Well, I'm getting tired. Are you guys getting tired?
I'm fucking exhausted. I have 4 hours of sleep.
Oh Jesus Christ. Yeah, I
Yeah,
gotta go. Are you guys good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Do you have
I'm
anything
good.
else you need to add that you need to desperately get off your chest about this topic?
Pelipper is the best
The worst Pokemon of all time.
water Pokemon of all time, and it's in Gen 3.
It's just another reason why it's just a horrible gen.
It's a regional champion.
Meganium beats Pelipper. That's all I gotta say.
Actually, unironically,
It actually doesn't.
But
Yeah, I'll tell you why. Because his neck is so long, he can reach into the sky and just like bitch slap Pelipper out. You didn't think about that, did you?
Listen, all I'm saying is you're arguing over which flaming dumpster fire is the best flaming dumpster fire. And the answer is none of them, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Let's go with Moxie's favorite Pokemon. Level 43 Raticate with quick attack and tackle.
Listen, Focus Sash, Endeavor, quick attack, baby. Suck his
they
whole
did
dick.
Do that. I wish they did do that.
Honestly, same.
Anyway, we're getting to that point. All right. Thank you, John, for coming on as our guest for the week. I appreciate your insight. I did not think about Gen 3 that way, so my eyes are a little bit opened.
I hope I close them again because that was a horrible argument. Game's trash.
Anyway, all right, I gotta go. I'm getting too loopy. I'm falling asleep. So thank you all so much for tuning in. Really appreciate it. We had like 20 viewers in here at one point, so thank you guys.
Everyone
so
was
much.
chilling. It was a good time. I was taking a look at the director because I was like, "Am I gonna raid out? Like, I'm a little sleepy."
Oh yeah, I always forget.
I also usually forget. I don't know.
Who should we raid?
I'm trying to. Who's even online that I like?
Raid channel? I don't even know.
Let me check if I got any
I see
homies.
Snowy's online. Can always raid out to Snowy.
Hold up. Let me check.
Brawlickshop.com. Wait, do you actually have a shop?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't updated it in maybe 2 years, but it does exist.
Oh, we can't just send everybody over to Bow again. You want to send everyone over to Bob?
I mean, I'm not streaming, so yeah. do what
Wait,
you
what's
want.
the channel
I don't
name?
really see anybody from our Discord that's streaming or anything, honestly.
It's literally Bob.
Yeah.
So
Bob?
it's BAWB.
Wait, hold on.
BAWB.
Oh, boy.
WHOA.
Oh, I see him. Bobwo.
Bob wow.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay.
Wow.
All right,
chat,
I'm starting
the raid. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out. We appreciate you all hanging on the PokeYap. Get ready for clips and shenanigans. We will be on the YouTubes.
Follow the Twitter.
Follow the Twitter. Sub to the YouTube. Guys, I love you. Have a great night.